I had my follow-up doctor's appointment yesterday, and I had so much pain over here because when I did my impromptu demo the other day, I really didn't realize how long I was doing it for. I think it was close to 45 minutes that I was actively using my arm, my hands, and it had an impact. And I didn't have my the tennis elbow brace on, and I was rolling with the brayer. I was massaging, and all of that repetitive action. I just hadn't realized how much it impacted. So it was an important reminder to be mindful of not sitting here at the table and not having an alarm. I need to have a 20-minute alarm set up because I do need to definitely take that break and not come back for at least 40 minutes, give my arm that rest that it needs. So I am going to be more conscious of that. But it seems like the bones are healing fine. The nerves are getting desensitized. I still don't have the same sensation in my fingers. So because of the nerves getting impacted from the fall. So that's going to take some time, 2 months, they say. But with physical therapy and with me just being mindful, I think it should be okay. So as people are joining in, I know a lot of people are excited about who is going to win. I hate the word win. Who is going who is going to receive this handmade envelope with the little mini booklet inside that opens up the Turkish fold that I did in the live demo the other day. I know a lot of people are interested in seeing who the winner is. I am too. So we'll do the pick in a minute. But what I also wanted to take you through is I'm going to make you wait for this. So I wanted to show you another book that I made. This is a book that is very, very, very special to me. It's been something that I've had in mind. I've wanted to do for a very long time. Since last summer, actually, I've been wanting to do it. And I didn't know much about bookmaking at that time. So I had kept all those sheets safe in a box. And now as I'm learning more about bookbinding and going through this fall gave me the opportunity to sit down, check out books from the library and learn more about bookbinding and kind of pick and choose the techniques that I want to explore more of. Not very good at sewing, and also with my hand issues right now, I shouldn't really be doing that. So I'm exploring these other ways where I can do bookbinding that doesn't involve sewing, using a thread and needle especially. Sewing on the sewing machine I can do. That's easy enough, but I am exploring these other ideas. So I came across this technique, and I had taken a class also from Lydia Fiedler, who had done a beautiful session. I think the spots might still be open to learn the kind of bookbinding she taught. So I'll share what we made in her class first. So you have that kind of as a handy reference. So the technique that she taught, so I used that for this, and this does not involve any sewing, and it's a lay flat book. So let me actually switch the camera so I can show this to you the way you should see it. Okay, here we go. So this is the book that I bound using Lydia's technique. She taught us how to do all of this, and the book lays flat, and this has all my gel plate trace technique portraits. So using the gel plate as a tracing tool, and then doing all of these embellishments kind of after. But this, I love this technique. It's really easy to do, and this was a flip book that I made using the technique that Lydia taught. And it has a nice fabric spine, and it has this front cover and back cover that is also adhered on, and this is chipboard covers, so it's pretty stable. But this was a technique that she taught. So I'm not going to show you this technique because this is something that people paid for this class, and I would encourage you to take that class with Lydia if you're interested in learning this specific style of binding. And I can post a link to her class if you're interested. But the style that I am sharing today, I learned from and adapted from the various books that I have been reading and checking out from the library. So this one I can share because this is a variety of different things that I kind of put together in one little mini book. I'm loving this mini book idea. So this is a little book and it has botanical prints and each of the prints inside this book, and you can see how thick it is. They are from my class, the gel plate printing class on botanicals that is on my website. So every single print in here was made as a demo for that class. And each of those videos is a real-time live video. It's not a hyperlapsed video. So all of those prints are in here. And this is what this book looks like on the outside. And I'll walk you through it on how I did. I'll come back to the cover because that was the last thing I did. But what I really did was I took my prints, and this is a vertical orientation. I have to keep remembering that. This book opens like this. And I wrote leaves on the spine with my white pen on this gray cardstock paper. So it opens like this, and this is pasta prints in the background with a stamp on top. And the stamp was designed by Sandhya Iyer, who is an amazing illustrator and artist. And she designed this stamp for Unity Stamp Company, and I absolutely love it. So I enhanced this gel plate print that was done using different kinds of pastas. You'll see spaghetti over here. You'll see the wheels over there. That's actually dried garlic bulb. So this is all part of the class on my website. Each of these these are celery prints. So all I did was I trimmed each one of my prints. I had used a 3x5 gel plate, so they automatically had a border around them. And I just trimmed these. So I took off the white. So all of these prints were done using the same size gel plate, which made it easy for me to trim them to the same size, taking off that white border. And you don't actually even have to trim. If you like the white border and you want it to be part of the book, that's fine. This is a kale leaf. These are onions. And this has the color shift in it, so you can see how there's a sheen when I tilt. But so these I trimmed all of them the same size. And then I stacked them up. And then what I did was I glued them. So if you notice over here, these two are glued back to back. So I folded them and then I glued them back to back right here. So that stack kept increasing as I was gluing them. And a trick to gluing these together, this is called a perfect binding. The trick that I've discovered to glue them together is to glue 3 at a time, because some of this is thick paper. Some of this is just note cards that I printed on. So this was a stencil that I hand cut for a leaf. So I just drew, and this is also part of that class, that course on botanicals, where you can hand cut your own stencils and then you can use them for your botanical printing if leaves are not available in the area you are in, depending on the season. These are leaves. This is just a branch picked up on my walk along the way. This one is embellished after the fact with color pencils and glitter drops. So took a sheet of paper, basically trimmed it to the same size, folded it, and adhered back to back so that they open up, and did 3 sheets at a time. 3 sheets makes it more manageable, and then add those 3 to the other stack of 3 to the other stack of 3. So you keep building your stack. And soon enough, you have a whole stack that looks like that. So it's all glued. The glue that I use, that's also another important thing to know. The kind of glue that you use for this kind of bookbinding is important. You don't just use Elmer's glue. You use PVA glue. This is the one that I recommend. It's the pH neutral PVA glue, and this was recommended in most of the books that I read on bookbinding because it's archival and it's acid-free. So it's going to stay. It's going to remain flexible, which is important, especially if you have a book that's this size and you're going to keep opening it. You want that glue to stay flexible. You don't want it to become really rigid because it's going to be hard to keep flipping through. I absolutely love this print. So once you have all your pages glued up, then you put your book, your stack of pages. Let me show you a book in progress. That would probably make more sense because, let me just do that. Okay, so here is a book that is in progress right now. These are my alcohol ink paintings. Again, this is something, I've been planning on doing this for years. Just haven't gotten the time to do it. But this is the same technique. So once you have your stack, it looks like this. And it can be any size. It doesn't have to be a mini book. It can be any size. Once you have your stack glued up, it'll look like this. Another piece of advice I will give you, which I did not do in this one and in this one, and I should have done it in both, is that I should have put wax paper in between the stacks of paper as I was gluing them, because the glue does tend to seep out of the edges right here at the top and bottom when you're pressing them down to glue them together. It does tend to seep through, and I was wiping as I was gluing. I was using a cloth to wipe the edges, but even then, once this is shut tight as you're letting your glue dry so that all of these pages can, get used to being together as a family, I used this nifty tool that I got from Etsy. And this is called a book finishing tool. So what I did was I took my stack of papers and I just, without the cover, I just put them in here and I tightened the screws on both ends so that it would stay nice and snug. And then I just let it be. So once I had it like that, and then I took it out, I opened the pages, I realized that the glue that had seeped through had actually stuck some of these prints to themselves, which is why you see these spots of white here. So what happened was there was some glue seepage over here and it stuck to this side. And then when I opened it, the page tore. So that's something you want to avoid. You don't want that happening. So use wax paper in between. I know it's an overhead to do that, but it will save you so much trouble later on, because what I ended up doing was using my glue eraser extensively to get rid of. So I was just constantly doing this. And then I was also using my nail filer, which I don't use for filing my nails because I never had long nails. But I was using my nail filer to kind of just sand the glue marks away. So if you want to avoid that extra trouble after the fact, then do some prep work up front. Make sure you have some wax paper or parchment paper that can go in here in between the pages as you're gluing them. That will really save you a lot of time and headache after the fact, and you're not going to be, cursing yourself for not doing the prep work properly. So these again are stencils that I hand cut and used in lieu of leaves when I couldn't find leaves. This one is an enhanced print. So this is again a leaf that I found, a branch, same branch as this actually, same branch, but different colors, different kind of style to the print, and then enhanced with color pencils after the fact. And another thing that I do with my prints always is I use, let me find, it's a wax to seal them. Oh my goodness, lots of products. Here, Dorland's wax medium. I always put this on my gel plate prints to protect them, and also it will help with the glue not really destroying your pages as you're binding them using this technique. So you see how over here, like some of them, I can always cover this up with color pencils. I'm not really that worried about it, but I would have preferred if it didn't happen in the first place, if I had just taken that extra step. This is a hydrangea leaf from the rental that we were at last year when our house was getting remodeled. I love this one. It's just so pretty. And I used the hydrangea leaf in conjunction with the smaller leaves to get this. So this is actually 4 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 leaves in one print. And again, this is part of that class on botanical gel plate printing. All of these prints are from that same class. And I just love that now I have a whole book out of these that is now in book format that I can just flip through them. And yes, I will add a list of all of these resources that I am sharing today so that you have a link to all of these tools and supplies. So when you're doing your book binding, you're not going around hunting for which one works, because I have been testing and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And also as part of the process, because some of these things, you won't find in books. When you're reading books, you won't find some of this advice. You just have to do it, experience it, fail at it, and then realize what you should do different. Now, these 2 prints are interesting. These are from strawberries. And I was experimenting and seeing, what it would be like to use strawberries to take gel plate prints. And I thought this was just so exquisite. It's really detailed. and it has the water droplets kind of from the juice, the strawberry juice. It's just, I love this print. And then this was strawberry slice because, I was still experimenting. And maybe if I had used a different color, it would have looked different. But these are carrot leaves. This is a ghost print. Lots of carrot leaves prints. I just love them. They're absolutely stunning to print with. So basically just stack these up, glue them together. And all of these are with, some of them are with distress inks. Some of them are watercolor. Most of them are acrylic. They're all just different. And I went through all of these different techniques in the class, which is still available if anybody wants to take that class. It's on my website and I'll link to that too. I just love this one as well. This has a bit of celery in it, and there's so much stuff going on inside this particular leaf. It's just interesting, very, very interesting how these prints are so different every single time I pull them. And then again, this one is enhanced. So you stack them up together, and once you've got them stacked in the order that you want, they're glued in, they've had some time to settle down, being together as a family. Then, I love this print too, by the way. And this is pasta again to close off the book. Then once this is settled in, and I had it sitting over here in this nifty little tool, which you don't have to have. If you have, bricks, you could use 2 bricks, or you could just use heavy books and just sandwich. You just need something heavy to sandwich your glued papers together. And then I took it out, I went through, I used my glue eraser and my sander to make sure that the pages weren't really stuck to each other. And then after that, I added this. So this is what's in progress right now. This is the spine. So this is just some sports tape. And in this one, I didn't add sports tape, I added pink fabric. And I don't know if you can see, there's a very, very subtle reminder of that pink fabric right there where my nail is. There's some pink fabric in there. So this was fabric here. So this is sports tape. Basically just to make sure that your spine gets reinforced and those pages do stay together. And after I put this cloth, I put another layer of glue on top, and then I let that dry. So this kind of stayed in here, sandwiched in between these 2 boards for a whole day. And I just didn't touch it. And then I took my chipboard, and there are so many instructions when you look for case-bound books. You will be able to see those. So case-bound books is what you're going to be Googling for, and then you'll get instructions on that. So you will measure out your size of your pages inside. You will add a little bit, however much you want, kind of an overhang. You will add a little bit for the overhang, measure that out, and cut your chipboard to size. And then you will place your stack of papers on the chipboard and trace out just how much this is. And that becomes your spine, basically. And then you cover these 3 pieces with the same fabric or with the same paper that you want. And then you can decorate however you prefer. So just look for case binding in conjunction with perfect binding, which is what I did. And before I glued this on to my cover, I poked a little hole in the spine and I threaded some elastic through. So that became my closure, because I do think that this book needs a closure, and I didn't want it to become too elaborate of a closure. I just wanted it to be very simple, which is why this works. So this is kind of a mini walkthrough, I guess. It's not a detailed tutorial, of course, but that's where this is headed. Now, the problem with this is it's pretty thick. It's kind of got a rounded spine. This was one of my first ones that I was trying to do before I had even got those books. This is before my fall happened. I had started doing this. And so you can see how uneven all of these edges are. The pages are very, very uneven. Some of them are sticking out. Some of them are too short. So this is something that I need to fix before I can add my cover. So I'm going to be working on that whenever, I have strength in I don't want to keep using an X-Acto knife and keep doing that over and over. I'm just going to quickly scroll through some of these comments here. So after using glue, do you seal those pages? I'm assuming this is glue, Loretta. It says after using food, do you seal those pages with anything? I believe that's glue. So I use the Dorland's wax medium to basically seal. How do I treat alcohol inks? So alcohol inks, these are all my alcohol ink prints, and I have used Kamar varnish spray to seal them. So this is on black paper, this is on black photo paper, and these all have been sealed. This is on Yupo paper. This is on Duralar. So all different substrates in this book. This is on photo paper, Kirkland photo paper from Costco. But all of these have been sealed with the Kamar varnish. These were paintings, individual paintings. And I would finish the painting, let it rest for 3 days, and then seal them. So these were just taken in my garage and, placed on the garage floor and then just sprayed over. And these are all different substrates, as I said. So lots of different techniques, and I'm not going to do a flip through of this because this is not complete yet. It will, once it gets done, I'll share this with you too. Okay, so that was my walkthrough, and that was my alcohol ink book that I am still going to be working on as time permits. But you can see over here, you can see the glue kind of, when you don't have pages in between your wax paper or your parchment paper in between, the glue kind of seeps through, and then you have all of this that just kind of accumulates, which is not cool. So just something to be mindful of as you're making your books using this technique. So we're going to go here and we're going to go to the source and we're going to share my screen. And here I am, update system audio, install later. Okay, so this is my screen right now. And this is the comment picker right here. So what I'm going to do is, we're not going to do the Facebook because this is from a Facebook group and it's not pulling names from the Facebook group. So what we're going to do is, I did broadcast this video, the making of the book, the Turkish fold booklet. I did broadcast that to YouTube, and a couple of people were confused about where to comment. So they commented on YouTube, and I don't want to deny them the opportunity to be part of the drawing. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take the URL from my YouTube page, which is this one. This was a quick gel plate demo, show and tell. I'm going to go to comment picker. For anybody who ever wants to pick winners, this is also a mini tutorial for you. So you go to YouTube random comment picker. And when that loads, you are going to enter your YouTube video URL, which is that. And I will filter duplicate users. I don't want to include replies to comments. I don't want to filter comments based on a specific text. I don't want to exclude anyone, but I do want to add extra entries. Now, my extra entries are basically names of everyone who commented on the Facebook post, which was because it's a private Facebook group. So filter duplicate users, include replies to comments we're not doing, exclude blacklist, add extra entries, get YouTube comments. So let's see. 9 plus 38. Okay, shall we start this? I'm excited to see who's going to win it. Okay, let's start. It does this. Nancy Sherman is the winner. Okay, Nancy, you are the winner. So you get my handmade book and the envelope. But I do want to share one other thing. So when I did this test earlier to make sure that I'll be able to do this raffle drawing live, there was another person who won. And I took a screenshot. So I'll share with you that screenshot so that you can see who won that first time that I did that. So Francine was the winner at 8:32 this morning, and that was when I hadn't included the YouTube people. So Nancy is the winner of the mini booklet for which this giveaway was. But Francine, since I pulled your name earlier, I am going to send you something, because in all conscious, I cannot not send you something because your name did get pulled out, even if it was a trial run. So I will send you something for sure. But Nancy, if you can please message me your mailing address, I'll be happy to ship this to you tomorrow so it can be yours. And Francine, I will make sure that you get something handmade from me as well. so that, I feel good about you getting something since your name was pulled in that first try. All right, so there we have it. We have our winners, and you saw the little book that I made with my gel plate prints. I'll make sure to post a link to the video flip through of this, along with a list of resources, so that you have the supplies and tools you might need if you are going to do any kind of bookbinding using this technique, which is basically case binding and perfect binding. And what I will also do is maybe I can include some, I know I gave you the book names. So I was following Handmade Books by Alyssa Golden, which I now own a copy of. I purchased it. So I have that. But if you want handy tutorials, or you want something, that will help you visually as you make this kind of book, I can link to a couple of YouTube channels that I like on bookbinding. And so you'll have that. So supplies will include your resources in terms of videos, what this kind of binding is called, as well as tools you might need that I have found to be very helpful as part of that flip through video. So watch out for that. I'll try to get that done soon. So have a wonderful day. I will be busy with Halloween projects. Yesterday I was making custom tags for each of the kids in my daughter's class, gift bags and custom tags, so that when they have the party tomorrow at school, I am the room parent. We're able to hand out, they'll be doing these fun crafts, and I'll be handing out supplies and helping them play games, and it'll be all so much fun. It's nice to be back on campus again, to be able to volunteer and be with the kiddos and see them lead a semi-normal life with their masks on. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have that sense of normalcy. So I will see you all soon, and keep creating, keep sharing. Please don't forget to share whatever you are making, because it does continue to inspire the rest of us, especially people like me right now who are not being able to craft as much as they would like to. It's really encouraging and inspiring to see all your makes. So please do continue to share on the group, and hopefully I will be able to do more of these demos, shorter ones, and do more giveaways, because I really do like sharing my art, and I'm so grateful to everyone who wants it. It's very validating, and it feels very encouraging, and I feel very loved. So thank you for wanting my art, and I am happy to do more giveaways as we do more demos live together. All right, you all have a great rest of your week. See you soon.